And welcome back. It's now 9 minutes away from 7 o'clock, and as promised before the break, we've been joined by fitness trainer from Educo Gym in Belmopan, Albert Garcia. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, Albert, usually people are not talking about exercise around this time of the year. They're more looking at ways to indulge fully. So I guess it makes sense. But let's start off and talk a little bit about Educo Gym and how the gym tries to transform people.
Well, Educo Gym, what we look at is a more holistic approach to fitness, of course, whereby we're going to incorporate the mental aspect, the physical, and the nutritional. So the gym is really based on university research, which does show that your mind is the biggest part where you're getting into the shape that you want. Of course, it really goes based on you creating a clear mental blueprint or a clear vision of what you really want to look like and what you want to feel like. So that does make it a lot easier.
So do you use like Photoshop, create the one that I want and stick it up on my mirror? No?
No. If you want to, you can.
That'd be a motivation.
If you want. It's up to you. But what we do, we just go with you, and it really goes based on you and what you want. So if you want to Photoshop, then no problem.
So how does the process itself, once I enroll in your gym, in terms of membership, how does that all play out?
From the time you sign up, the first thing we'd have to do is a consultation, and with that, that's where we'd really sit down and find out more about you. Exactly what it is that you want to do. We have to do the consultation to find out a bit about your medical background, of course, because I need to know what you can do and can't do. So immediately I'd find that out, and then from there we'd progress.
So let's talk about how you help people set their goals. As you mentioned, there is a very important mental aspect. You need to have the willpower, and you also have to be realistic with your goals. So when somebody comes in, how do you help them to shape the goal in terms of what they can actually achieve?
Well, I just draw it out from them.
Yeah.
Because you'd find that innately every single person knows what they really want. But it's just to really get them out. So it's just by certain questions you'd ask, okay, so for example, I could use William. Okay, so William, what do you really want to look like? You know, that's the first thing, because if you don't know what you want to look like, then what are you working towards? If you come to the gym and say, okay, I want to get into shape, that's very vague. I mean, it's not a clearly defined goal. You need to have a clearly defined goal with anything to really progress at it, because then if you say I want to get into shape, I mean, you could lose your focus in probably the next day.
And what if I bring a picture of
even better
and say, this is what I want to look like?
That's even better, honestly.
So does that mean...
So you take the picture of the six-pack?
Yeah.
If you want to, you could Photoshop it on. As well.
No, I like the fact that you're talking about getting a mental picture. But obviously when people work out, we're kind of that instantaneous kind of people now. I won't say generation, but generations, where people want immediate results. So how do you get people to understand that it's a process? It didn't take you 5 weeks to get
actually
to the size you are.
It did.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. With it does take a time period, but there's also different things that you can do to really expedite the process. For example, there's a 12-day program that we offer. So with that is what really started the entire gym with the research. Now with that, you found that people lost an average of 7.5 pounds of fat and also put on 3 pounds of muscle. This is in 12 days. So based on that, to date, no other study has beaten that under university research conditions. So to give you an idea, this is what 5 pounds of fat look like. So you'd lose 1.5 of this from your body in 12 days. That usually equates to, you'd look at 2 to 2.5 inches from the waist and the tummy, or for some women a dress size down. You could even go for 2 dress sizes down.
And it doesn't mean that you wake up every day hating your trainer.
Oh, no. No, because when you're getting your results, you tend to feel a lot better. You feel much more motivated. Apart from that, we do provide you with the diet and everything. So you'd find that your energy is much better. You'd find that you're much more focused, because the foods that you eat do tend to.
And that's the point I wanted to touch on, because oftentimes people want to do, and especially in January, it's actually called the busy season in the gyms. And we see a great increase of persons who get in and want to lose weight. as their New Year's resolution. But so often they're willing to go and do the exercise, but don't understand that there are other things that have to be included. Eating right and to time is also important. So let's talk about how you encourage your members to be able
eat.
to do that, especially since they're
Yeah.
not there. You can train them in an exercise, but you can't sit with them and eat.
Well, to really help them with that, I'd look at a couple things. First, it does really just go back to that vision and how clear it is for them, because that keeps them motivated to want it. But also, we would talk with them on a daily basis when they come in. Okay, so how's the diet going? Also, I would know if you're not doing it.
Yeah.
Because the minute you do change up the eating, the minute you stick to the diet that we provide, you'd see a change in 3 days.
Yeah.
You'd feel much better. All of these things I'd really track out. Even I asked them to really send me pictures of what they're consuming.
Ah.
So I could help
So
them with that as well.
you do monitor.
Yeah, because
Even though they might send you the plate, but have another one that day.
even if they do that, the results never lie.
Now, the word diet itself scares a lot of people.
Yeah.
And in fact, when you talk about health and fitness, a lot of people are moving away from talking about diets and just talking about healthier
yeah.
eating. What would you describe a meal plan like for somebody who's on your 12-day program? Is it realistic? Is it brown rice and steamed vegetables and bland chicken, which is what everybody dreads?
You can't season your food, so you don't have to worry about the bland aspect of it. But with the 12-day, it's more of a fat and protein diet. You're looking at, we're taking out every single carbohydrate except vegetables, of course.
Okay.
And we're including fat, and we're including meat. That's it. There's no fruits, there's no sugars, anything. It's done that way for multiple reasons. One, it does provide you with the fat loss, but we're also looking at rebalancing your hormones, because what you would find to date, especially here in Belize, is that a lot of people have an imbalance in their hormone level, in terms of there's an imbalance between their growth hormone and insulin. Now you'd find that it's really based on what we eat and the type of foods that we're consuming every single day. That really kills it. For example, rice, bread, well, specifically white rice. Anything based
Or what
on
the
flour.
typical Belizean meal is loaded with carbohydrates and starch.
Yeah.
And fat.
Yeah, so it really does affect you in a large way, and most people don't realize that. If you want to track it out, you could go back to when you're younger and when you could eat what you want, do what you want, and nothing really happens. That is because your body is producing excessive growth hormone at that point. So what the growth hormone allows your body to do is really build muscle and burn fat. Insulin, now the purpose of the insulin is just to regulate your blood sugar. But apart from regulating the blood sugar, it also causes fat storage. So you'd find that when you eat high insulin foods, okay, you do get a little bit of energy from it, but an hour later, chances are, I think in Belize we call it the itis, whereby you see people head falling down, can't really keep it up, and then half an hour later they're hungry again.
Yeah.
It's just because the foods that you eat, your body processes it way too fast. So that's the issue with it. Because it processes it very fast, your blood sugar really spikes. And the insulin has to come in to regulate that, because blood sugar is toxic. So when it does that, it does regulate your blood sugar, but apart from that, it does cause the fat storage, which is the main thing that people want.
That's what you're trying to avoid.
Yeah.
And you mentioned no fruits. Now, this is an interesting thing because people think when it comes to healthy food, fruits and vegetables is a free-for-all. In the case of vegetables, it tends to be.
Yeah.
But with fruits?
It's just specifically for the fat and protein diet. It's not a forever thing.
Yeah.
It's just on this. But fruits, you'd still have to watch certain fruits.
It still has to be done in moderation.
Not really the moderation aspect, but it would go based on the glycemic index, which is really, it's the same thing how your body is going to process it, because certain fruits are much sweeter than others.
Like most of the fruits we naturally
have in Belize. Mango.
Bananas, pineapples.
See, the pineapple would be okay.
Watermelon.
Watermelon. It just depends as well, because it varies on the person. Because some people, their body can tolerate it.
Yeah.
It's not just wide across the board. It's people or person specific.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you do want to lose fat, you're going to find that your body either burns sugar or burns fat. If you're consuming a lot of sugar, your body's never really going to burn the fat. So you take out the sugar and you'd find that your body does burn the fat, and your body runs much more efficiently on fat as opposed to sugar.
How do you structure your program for persons of different sizes? For example, somebody who is slightly overweight may be more motivated to be able to go and exercise because their goal seems more realistic. People who are obese or morbidly obese, as we see in this country, and anywhere else in the world, often feel demotivated or unmotivated, to be able to get into the gym because it almost seems like mission impossible.
Yeah.
How do you work with them?
I'd always have to go back to their vision, because we have to motivate them with what they want. So it's really to get out and find out exactly what they want. You find that they may have layers of negative mindsets because of the weight, because, okay, I don't think I can do this. It's not really that. With them, I could actually provide examples of various people's, like we have a guy, he lost 100 pounds in 6 months. He was overweight, yes, but he honestly had a really clear vision of what he wanted, and in 12 days, I believe he lost about 30 pounds. But he was very clear about what he wanted. What I've found in the gym is every single person that really knows their goal and knows it to an unconscious point, be it that, I'd use your times table, for example, right now, where about, okay, if I ask you what's 5 times 5, you know it's 25. So if you know your goal that well, that makes a big difference. And we actually have clients, if I'd ask, okay, they could recite it to me step by step by step, what they want. And I found those clients always do the best.
So whoever comes in with a clearer vision is the one who tends to be more successful.
Yeah, well, it doesn't even have to be clear. We'd help you clarifying it, but you just have to want it. You just need to have it as clear as possible to help you to want it as well.
Now, you're talking about the 12-day program. Now, some people might see that and they have tremendous weight loss, for example. Is it something that you can sustain?
Yeah, because the diet is not something you're going to live on. It's just for that time period. After we'd look at, we're just transitioning into healthy eating, which is, of course, we'd add in back the fruits, so the fruits would be there.
Now, you talk about rebalancing of your hormones, etc. We in Belize tend to consume a lot of sugary foods. No?
We have a sweet palate.
We have a very sweet palate. So how do you get people off the sugar, especially when a lot of the sugar is hidden in everything that we consume?
Actually, the diet does that for you, because you don't get any cravings on the diet. Because your hormones are balanced, you'd find that the cravings come from if you're eating something sugary, or if your body processes anything too fast. That's what really creates the cravings. It's not that it's something natural. So for example, on a fat and protein diet, you'd find most people just eat twice a day. After the first couple of days, your body tends to rebalance, and the cravings just come from the carbs. So if you eat, let's say, if someone eats a big plate of rice and beans, or a big plate of rice with stew beans at lunchtime, if you notice by 2 o'clock, they're hungry again. Whereas if you're consuming a fat and protein diet, the diet is actually 2/3 fat and 1/3 protein, so you're consuming more fat. Might seem illogical to most people in terms of
healthy fat, though.
Yeah, it's healthy fat.
It's not like you're going out and eating.
No, I'm not telling you to go out and
You
buy
mean
every.
no pigtail?
No.
No barbecue pigtail?
Definitely, no. It would be good fats, but it is flavorful, of course. Bacon is on that, so you have a lot of bacon eaters. So.
Note to self.
So looking at the exercise routines that you would do. Now, obviously, you're based in Belmopan, so not everyone has access to your program. But if somebody is on the verge of trying to make some kind of change, and there are many mental barriers, as we've spoken about, why people don't make that leap.
Yep.
What would you say to people who are worried about getting active again and feeling perhaps they've tried before and stopped, or just haven't gotten that final push as yet?
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
Don't overthink. Just take the first step. Doesn't matter if, okay, for example, it doesn't matter if you want to be the skinniest person. It doesn't matter if you want to be the smallest person, but just take the step that you can. Don't worry about the other steps. Don't worry about, well, okay, I need to do this. And just take the one step that you can, and you'd find that you always find other steps to take. The problem you'd find that most people are caught up in the thought process of it, that, okay, I should do it, I should just do it. The minute you take that step, you realize how much better you feel, what all it does for you.
So we're talking about this 12-day plan around Christmas, when the plan for most people is ham, turkey, you know, like eat
everything else.
So how do you get people to start focusing from now to think about 2016, or, you know, their long-term goal? Is it a situation where you're the one who, you know, everybody's eating and you're there feeling miserable because you can't consume, or you're thinking, because some people do that, you know, where they actually, it feels like you're punishing yourself, and most people immediately start saying, why are you doing that? You look fine, and blah, 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 blah. So that becomes a part of the mental anguish and the uncertainty that people may face. So how do you start that process now, knowing fully well that in 2 days, we have Christmas dinner to contend with?
What I'd look at for most people is the moderation aspect. Don't really overeat.
Yeah.
You eat until you're full. Don't overeat one.
Ah.
If you're going to eat,
Eat till you're full.
It's better than
Not-
saying don't eat it,
Yeah.
because that's the last thing you want
Yeah.
to tell people.
yeah, it's just the rice and beans in itself wouldn't be that bad, to be quite honest. The cake now might be a different story. Ideally, it's also better to deal with, if you're going to consume bad stuff at this point, it's better you do it early on in the day because your body has time to process the sugars from it. What you would find is if you do it later on in the day, it doesn't really benefit you much because of the same issue. It's going to really have your insulin level raised. Now, you'd find at nighttime your body does burn fat. So ideally, you should eat at least 2.5 hours before bed because your body processes it or breaks down everything in that time period. But if you don't, you'd find that you find the imbalance again because your insulin levels may be elevated based on what you're eating. So the growth hormone never really allows, or never really has the time to take place and actually burn fat while you sleep. Because the growth hormone really helps with that. And you'd find that it's produced in excess up until the age of 25. After it sort of goes on that decline. so it does, it is.
What are you looking at me, Albert?
Your body does still produces
Which is
it.
what most people say. As
Yeah.
you get older, it's harder
Yeah.
to lose weight.
Yeah.
You should capitalize from a younger age
Yeah.
to get yourself in shape. But it doesn't mean it's too late, no matter what age you are.
It does not matter what age you are. You can still produce, up until like the 55, 60s, okay, then it's a bit harder to really get it. But your body does produce it when you go to bed. At night when you're sleeping, once it's on an empty, not really fully empty, but once it's on a empty stomach, you could have tea or even coffee, but without sugar, of course, before at least half an hour before bed, and it still wouldn't really do anything to your body. But you'd also look at really just ensuring that you're getting enough rest, one. Apart from that, the diet too, and really to bring up the growth hormone, it has to be something that forces your muscle to work.
Rest?
Yeah.
Rest, yes.
Let's talk about rest.
Uh-huh.
Once upon a time, William used to say you sleep when you're dead, right?
That's right.
I don't think he subscribes to that anymore, but
so much.
how
No.
important is rest in a health and fitness regime?
It's extremely important, but what I'd look at is not that, I'd say you'd look at 6 to 8 hours, but it's not really the length of time because you can get 6 to 8 hours of rest, but it's not quality. It's always about quality sleep and getting yourself fully relaxed. Because you'd find that some people go to bed and their mind is still on, working, doing this, doing this.
Yeah.
It's not a quality night's sleep. So it's really to get yourself fully relaxed. Even with that, we do sell relaxation CDs in the gym
Okay.
just to get your body fully relaxed. And you'd find that when you wake up in the morning, it's so
You'll
much better.
feel the difference.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get
And-
into some examples.
And one
Okay.
other question, because I see you hydrating as well.
Yeah.
Water, water, water.
In this case, yeah, I don't honestly, the water is because I don't have any protein right now. I'm waiting for it to get in. If not, it would have been protein.
Yeah.
But it is important to hydrate yourself. Extremely important. Especially, I'd recommend that for the people drinking the excessive alcohol over the holidays
Ah.
to really hydrate yourself or even
And it's
find the
going to be a
balance.
hot Christmas, even more so you'll need to hydrate.
Yeah.
So, of course, this is for our viewers who would like to consider perhaps even starting their health and fitness
Yeah.
journey during the holidays. So you're going to show us some exercises, I
I
believe?
can show you guys some abs. I don't
Okay.
know if William would want to join me.
Yeah.
I'll watch. I'll join you and watch.
All right.
Go.
What I do is I just go over a basic ab routine that we would do in the gym. So with it, of course, you'd start with the crunches, but the main thing is you'd look at ensuring your chin is on your chest here. So let me slide down a bit more.
So this is for anyone. It doesn't matter
yeah.
what shape you're in.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
You can do it. So you just come up to there. But with it, I'd ensure that you're breathing out as you're going up, so you're exhaling on the effort. Now, you don't have to come all the way up to here, which a lot of people assume that it has to be that. If your chin is on the chest and you're really focusing on your core. So it could be right there, and you'd get a really effective ab workout.
All right.
Apart from that, you can do an alternating crunch. Same thing, the chin stays on the chest then. And it would be the same thing again. You need to ensure that you're breathing out, so you're really focusing right here. Apart from that, there's also reverse crunches focusing on the lower abs. So you'd roll the hips up, So it's more for the lower abs right there. And of course, for the love handles and the obliques, you do reverse crunches, but here, yeah. So it'd be the same thing. You'd roll it up. You don't want to bring it all the way down, or you'd find that some people actually have their head here, and they're just doing this. The head needs to stay up, and the hips actually has to roll up. It's not just here.
So a lot of it
And
is
then-
doing it the right way.
Yeah.
Technique.
Yeah.
And that's why it helps to have a trainer to be
Yeah.
able to really guide you. What about something to kind of get the heart rate going? One of the things we hear people talk about all the time is
Cardio.
they don't have time to get in cardio. So they'll do a couple of crunches and feel that they've exercised for the day. What's your advice when it comes to that?
Honestly, with regards to the cardio, we would not really do it in the gym.
Yeah.
Main reason is it does provide you with weight loss, but most of it is not fat. The research would show you that up to 90% of the weight you lose from it is muscle.
Yeah. But
So-
it keeps your heart healthy, which is also important. Yeah.
But the muscle loss also is extremely bad for you.
So you guys don't promote lots of cardio?
We would not, but you get the effect. You do get the effect of it.
Okay.
Because the workout sessions in itself, for us, it's extremely time efficient. You're looking
Yeah.
at 20 minutes, and that's it. You're in, you're out, done. Because of there would be no break in between.
Yeah.
Now, in the gym, everything is really catered to what you want to do. So if it is that heart rate pumping you want, if it's a bit more stamina, then the routines would be changed.
Yeah.
You'd actually find that with this, you had a boxer who actually trained with this in the UK, did 0 cardio, won all his matches, because the heavy weight does make the difference. It's not going to be heavy that you can't lift it, don't worry, William. It's not going to be heavy that you can't lift it, but heavy enough so that you can manage it and do it properly and effectively, and that also does get your growth hormone up a lot.
Okay. So what's a good at-home routine for somebody who wants to get in some exercise over the holiday?
You would be able to do squats, just some freestyle squats, some lunges, but ideally the best thing you can do is anything that it really forces your muscle to work. So for example, there is a lot of people who love running. If you are going to run, you'd definitely have to look at really the eating, if you're getting enough protein in, because your body will be losing muscle as you're doing it.
Okay.
But instead, if you sprint, you'd find that the sprinting is much more beneficial. Anything you do at a high intensity that forces your muscle to work is much more beneficial as opposed to
And you were talking about rest time. So let's say I'm going to do sprints for 10 minutes. 1 minute burst.
Yeah, and take a 30-second break, because I don't think you'd be able to just do 10 minutes straight out. So you could do 30, or you could do 30 and 30. If you can go for the full 1 minute, then do go ahead. But you just have to ensure that you're pushing your body.
Yeah. So the science behind that is obviously just getting the heart rate up, bringing it back down, and taking it back up again. So that's ideally what you're aiming to do.
Ideally, yeah, and just really forcing the muscle to work. Like in the gym, we do what we'd call a drop set system. So it's more based on you'd go and you'd start with the heavy weight and we'd lighten it. Reason being is, okay, if you lift a heavy weight, of course, some of your muscle are comprised of muscle fibers, so some of them are activated immediately. So what you'd find if you lift a heavy weight, okay, let's say 30% of your muscle works. Now in a regular gym, you'd find that someone may lift a heavy weight, go probably talk, sit down, take a break, then come back and work out again. Now with that, you'd find that that same 30% that you just work is rested, and you go back and this is the same 30% you're working again. So with the gym, you would lift something heavy, but there is no break in between, so you just lighten the
So you
weight.
keep on going.
So that 30% is depleted, you have to use more of your muscle every single time, and that does expedite the process a lot more also.
Now, there are a lot of things being promoted right now, especially around Christmas time.
Yep.
You know, you have all these Fitbit watches, you have so many. What's the purpose of those, and is it something that people should be investing in?
I'll be quite honest, I have not really looked up or researched them a whole lot, but just off the top of my head, what pops into mind is just to become a lot more health conscious and really track what you're doing. And give that some thought, because most people throughout the day don't even really pay attention or notice exactly what they're
and
doing.
I thought about that because you were talking about things like sleep, rest, so many other things. And we had some people on who were talking about the importance of sleep. But when you're trying to sleep, you don't know if you're sleeping
Yeah.
If you're
well.
having quality
Yeah.
sleep,
Right? So, you know, a lot of these Fitbits
Yeah.
kind of things. I don't know what all they're called.
They're
but
activity trackers.
yeah. Also monitors sleep.
Yeah.
So that might be a useful tool
Definitely.
for you.
And also very important, it monitors steps because
Yeah.
nobody, most of us are not hitting what is actually required, which is 10,000 steps
Yeah.
per day. Some of us barely hit 1,000.
Yeah. Well, your phone. Well, I use my phone for the steps.
No, but
so
the
steps thing
trackers are
more accurate. Yeah.
a bit more accurate. So there we had some suggestions. You showed us some
Yeah.
ab work. And in terms of people in the area who are interested in joining Educo Gym,
Yeah.
what do they have to do? Do you close for the holidays?
We close Christmas Day Boxing Day.
Okay.
That's about it. But if they do want to, what we're doing right now is we're selling gift certificates for people.
Okay.
Because we do realize it is the Christmas season and the best gift you can give is the gift of health. There is no better gift than that. So what we're doing is we have different packages right now. Like there's a 12-day program that we still offer. There's a 6-week program. There's also 3 months, 6 months, yearly.
Okay.
So it's just up to you to what extent you really want to give the gift of health. It could be for 12 days. It could be for 3 months.
And that's for people in and around Belmont Pond.
Yeah, even you'd find people who commute would still come into work out during their lunch break because it's not, it doesn't take up much of your time. It's only 20 minutes, so you get in, get a good workout in, and you're off. There are showers, everything are available, so
So 20 minutes is enough time to get in some exercise.
20 minutes is what it took me.
Nice. Well, that's good proof for people, huh? But what you eat is also very important.
Oh yeah, I do.
So what's
if
a
you're-
meal like for you?
Honestly, I probably think for the past couple of years, most mornings, probably the past 7 years, most mornings is egg. Eggs, sometimes I do toast, sometimes egg, fried beans. It just depends on what the time is like, if not protein. Lunch, most of the time is veggies, source of protein. Sometimes I do rice and beans for me because, it is a complete protein when it's mixed
Just
together.
rice and beans.
Rice and beans are a great source of veggies, of course, and of course the meat. Nighttime, it'd be similar to lunch, or it just depends on the schedule as well because it sort of gets a bit hectic, and I found that the protein makes life quite easy because it serves as the great meal replacement.
So you do shakes and smoothies.
Yeah,
too.
and with the it's actually different. Like most people you'd find purchasing whey protein. Now with it, we wouldn't sell the whey because you'd find that up to 50% of it your body wastes because of it's the same process. It just really runs through your system within an hour. So with the casein protein that we'd sell, you'd find that that takes 7 hours to really run through your body, so your body absorbs all the protein from it. And really, in comparison, just to get that prolonged, that really prolonged exposure or really absorption rate for whey, you'd actually need 16 scoops to the 1 scoop of casein that we'd sell.
No, that's also something new for people to understand because oftentimes when you think of protein, people think of bodybuilders and
Yeah.
they think of people trying to bulk up.
Yeah.
So when you tell people you're having protein
Yeah.
in your shakes or your drinks or whatever, and you're trying to lose weight, they're like, "What's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
How does that help in the weight loss process?
It's extremely important.
Yeah.
You'd find that, as you mentioned earlier, we do have a lot of carbohydrates that we consume here in Belize. Now, the ratio is quite off. For us, you'd find that we do mainly about 2/3 carbohydrate, 1/3 protein. It should be the opposite way. You do need a lot more protein. Your body does work harder to break down protein than it gets the energy from it. So you'd find protein is extremely important. I also, I'll probably leave an article with you guys. Really, it's 5 practical steps to weight loss,
Yeah.
really to help you with every single thing that you're doing. And you'd look at protein being a really important factor in there. And it's just quality protein apart from that. Yeah.
There we go. Avoid high insulin foods. So that's like your that's your white carbs. That's what a lot of people talk about.
Even potatoes. I know most people don't realize, but potatoes is worse than white rice, especially when you boil it. Because the glycemic index changes a whole lot. It turns to sugar as opposed to what it was before. So most ground foods also that people would boil, nah.
Don't eat before bed.
Nope.
Unavoidable sometimes.
Eat high calcium foods.
Actually, the protein would help you with that because you can take the casein protein before bed and it still helps. It actually helps you recover and helps you with fat loss at night while you sleep.
So you just do a shake. with the
Yeah, well, if I'd wrap up work late, that makes it quite easy. Just have a shaken bed. You don't really have to worry about, I need to eat by this time, then go to sleep this time. Now, you can have the shake right before bed.
and that would also do step 3, increase your protein. Eat high calcium foods.
Yeah. You'd find that calcium does help a lot with the fat loss, especially the running. A big part of the reason also we don't promote it is it does cause you to lose bone density. And you need,
and women especially
Yeah.
need to invest in calcium
Yeah.
from very young.
for osteoporosis as you get older.
Yeah.
And cut down on food just a bit. And do some exercise.
Just a bit.
All right, so we've definitely given people some information
Yeah.
for the resolutions that we know will come. And as we mentioned earlier, if anybody's interested in getting healthier for
Yeah.
2016, we're all for it, and hopefully this has helped.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us, Albert.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
We're going to go ahead and take a break.
And when we come back, it'll be to sit and talk with our friends from Digicel. Don't go anywhere. Open your eyes. Continue after these messages.